for joining us. Hutch, you want to get us going, please?
Yeah, sure, Dave. I guess I'll start off. Kind of what's your view of the weather for this weekend and how it might alter the series?
A lot of rain, obviously, and then cool temperatures and wind. And, we've had such good weather. You kind of knew this was going to happen somewhere. But it looks like, we'll make a decision tomorrow morning on tomorrow's game. Can't really go off of, I don't know, this far in advance would be tough to move a Friday game because of what you're seeing on Thursday morning. So we're going to get together in the morning and kind of look at the long range. Obviously, we're in touch with two different weather services and getting their opinions and then make a decision on Friday's game and then how we're going to handle Saturday. And because Saturday we're scheduled to play at 6. Um, if we have to move that up to catch a window to get a game in, that's what we would do. And then somehow between Saturday and Sunday late afternoon get 3 games in if we don't play tomorrow.
And then, are you sticking with the same starting rotation for this weekend?
Yeah, as of now, those 3 pitchers will pitch. That would be the order we would go in if everything's on time. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. If we figure out tomorrow that something's changed, I mean, we might change who starts what order, but yeah, that'll be the 3.
And then, do you have an update on Gage Wood? Could we see him this weekend potentially?
No, no, I won't see him this weekend.
Jackson, go ahead.
Hey Dave, the offense has been so good this year, and you've got 3 guys that have transferred in who are all gonna, I mean, looks like they're gonna set career high marks like for home runs against, arguably better competition in the SEC. I'm just curious, like, I know it's the midway point of the season, but any, vindication pride from the coaching staff and the development you guys have been able to do with the guys you brought in this offseason.
Well, give credit to the first off the players for coming in and working extremely hard, getting stronger. And then, Coach Thompson and Coach Warnes working with our hitters, developing our hitters. Um, you have to have guys that have that potential in them. And uh, obviously, the 3 you're talking about are having really good seasons. And hopefully, they'll have an opportunity to play down the road at the next level. And one reason they came in here was to get better and develop and play in our league and play at the University of Arkansas. So, yeah, we take a lot of pride in getting our guys, you know, a little better when they really a lot better by the time they leave here. So, hats off to them. Hats off to our coaching staff.
Jimenez, I think it was 35 pitches against Ole Miss, 45 South Carolina. I might be having this backwards, but and then nearly 60 against Vanderbilt. Is it like ramping him up every weekend? And is there maybe a point where that stops because he's coming off of the Tommy John, or is it just keep going until, he's just where every other pitcher is on the roster?
No, I mean we're not building him up at this point to be a starter. We're just building him up probably more to what he can do, and we're not going to overthrow him. He just has different roles. He can close the game for 3 innings. He can come in and close a ninth, pitch earlier in the game and go 4, and you can get him and finish somebody. We could spot start him. Just getting him right, get him healthy. He's not concerned with being a closer or being a starter. He just wants to get better and help the team win, and that's exactly what he's done. And he's been very consistent. You put him in, he's going to throw the ball over the plate. He's going to get some strikeouts, but he's also going to get some contact. And we've done a good job playing defense behind him, and he's settled a lot of things down in some tough situations.
I know you talked you said at the after the game in North Little Rock that Parker was going to be out a long time. Do you think there's a chance he comes back this season?
Yes, yes. Towards the end of the season, probably.
Thanks, Dave.
Christina, go ahead.
Yeah, Dave, Tony Vitello and Matt Hobbs both played for Tim Jameson and coached for him. Just did you consult him at all when you made those hires? Did you use him as a reference?
Yeah, and I actually coached one summer with Tim Jameson with Team USA. I know Tim really well. Super guy. Yeah, I talked to him about both of them each time that those situations came up, and asked a few questions and got some good answers, and the rest is history.
And then with the weather stuff, do you feel like the SEC allows enough flexibility with being able to adjust the schedules of these weekend games?
Yeah, I mean it's difficult because of obviously the guys got to go to class, take care of business there, and things have changed over the years with all the technology now, but um, it's I guess you gotta set some parameters, and they've done it. And when you leave on Thursday, you have until Sunday night to get it done, and you can't leave on Friday and you have until Monday night. They just don't allow that. So and now we have games Thursday through Saturday where teams leave on Wednesday, and they have until Saturday night to get it complete. So and the last day, if you get to the point where you've only played one game going into your last day, you have to play 7 inning games. So it can be you can play 14 innings pretty quick.
Daniel, go ahead.
Yeah, hi coach. On Parker, it seemed like he was just about to turn. Now he's
Daniel, we can't hear you.
oh
Try again.
boy. Can you hear me now?
Go for it.
Can you hear me now?
Nope. Matt Byrne.
Yeah, hi Dave. For you as a coach, I'm just wondering how much you find yourself needing to remind the guys not to overlook a last place SEC team, or with this group, they just sort of get it.
Well, I feel like that they don't really care what the other team's record is. They just play. Uh, I don't feel like I'm to that point where I see that way they're acting or the way they're practicing, working out in the weight room, like we're playing somebody that you know they're not going to compete as hard as they can against, and that's not the way they've been trained. And I've said it many times already this year that I really like the makeup of the team. They show up and they play hard, and it's business-like. They feel like they're never out of a game, been behind, come back and win. And as the innings start to get a little tighter, we're running out of them, we're losing. You can just see it, the intensity ramp up in that dugout, and they find a way to get it done most of the time. So I don't really feel like we're really looking at records right now. Honestly, you look at Missouri, they can hit, and Lovich is having a great year, and they've had some good pitching performances. They played, at their ballpark. The wind's blowing out, so sometimes a lot, and it can be blowing out hard. So sometimes the numbers are kind of skewed for a pitching staff. So, the way to go about every series is just go in and play. And it's like I tell our guys as well, they all count the same, whether you win or lose. It's either one loss or one win, and just try to stack up a few wins because the league's tough, and you can have a bad week or weekend or a couple of weeks. And you look at some of these other teams that are down in the pack where they're 1-8. Those are good teams, believe it or not. RPIs are still pretty good. They have a lot of talent, pro talent for the future, and it just hadn't gone right for them. So I don't get all excited about being 8-1, or if we were 5-4 or whatever. We just got to show up and play.
And then obviously, if you have 3 games scheduled in 3 days, it's not like you're looking to try to squeeze 18 in a day, 18 innings if you don't have to. But in your experience, does a home doubleheader, in SEC play, is that maybe an advantage? Is there times in the past where like you're really dreading like a road doubleheader? Do you think maybe a road doubleheader would give you an edge or something, maybe to steal one? I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I don't think a doubleheader gives anybody an advantage, honestly. It's you just never know how the day is going to go. Now, somebody is out of pitching or they're to have no bullpen after the first game. They use their four best relievers, and now, yeah, they've got their number 2 and 3 starting with a bullpen that's been pretty much wiped out. Then there's an advantage if you didn't have to use any. But as of right now, I don't think there's any advantage for anybody. You just when you're playing a doubleheader, you scramble and try to get that first game, takes a little pressure off. But yeah, it's just baseball. Things happen, and you just hope you're playing well. If you mix in a 9 inning game on a Saturday night, you turn around and play 2 7s at 12 noon on a Sunday. That's a lot of innings in a 24-hour period, and you just hope it goes your way.
And then kind of last one for me. There's been slight tweaks to the lineup, sometimes in sort of the same weekend, and it could just be a guy moving one spot. Is there a point in the season where that's sort of going to be finalized in your book, or it can always change? And I guess maybe why?
Well, the last weekend we played the same guys all 3 games and just moved a left-handed hitter behind a couple of right-handed hitters when they started a lefty. That was the only move that was really made. So my lineup right now is, I would have to say, a little tighter than it's been in many years, because I really like what's going on with the guys that are starting. They're all pretty good defenders. They can swing the bat. We're playing well when they're together. There's some guys on the bench that are good, that try to get them in as best I can, but sometimes it's just going to be situational. But yeah, the lineup is established pretty good right now, especially if you look at maybe the history of the last couple of years, because of we weren't as offensive. It wasn't as easy to write up a lineup now it is.
Thanks.
Kevin, go ahead.
Hey, Coach. You guys started out kind of slow on the base paths. You were about 50% stolen bases the first few weeks. You're 24 of 33. Have y'all put more of an emphasis on that the last few weeks?
Well, our emphasis is to be able to steal a base when we need it or when they're giving it to us. And I think we're 4 for 4 in SEC play. And I know 3 of the times we stole bases in SEC play, they knew we were going to run. We were down a run or it was tied. We were trying to get into scoring position with 2 outs, 1 out, whatever the situation was, mostly 2 outs. So that was good. A couple of the earlier stolen bases that when we were caught stealing, where guys were leaving first movement on a lefty and we guessed wrong and he picked. So there's a couple, 3 of getting thrown out there, and then another 1 or 2 are maybe a missed hit and run where we swung and missed, didn't make contact, tough pitch or whatever. So kind of got off to a bad start that way, but really it's picked up, over the last couple of weeks, actually, maybe 4 or 5 games. And yeah, we emphasize it. It's in our practice plan today, working on base running, working on starts, stealing, making good decisions, talking about it. If you don't get a jump, don't run. We may give them the steal, but if they don't get a jump, don't steal.
Right.
Because I don't want a guy coming back to me and I'll ask him, and I already know the answer, but I ask him anyway, hey, how was your jump? It wasn't very good. Well, then I would say, well, why'd you go? Just shut it down. And so, these are things you have to train him to do. You have to work on it and, simulate a slide step or quick to the plate and see if they'll shut it down. So, yeah, it's always important to be able to get one when you need it. You got to have the right guys out there. Try not to be running ourselves out of innings, because we can hit the ball over your head and hit doubles and score that way. So, but it's good to have that in your back pocket, so to speak.
Thanks.
Coach, come back around. Close it out.
Yeah, I think Daniel was using the U of A Wi-Fi, but he was wanting to ask you about Parker Coyle. When a guy's turn the corner like that, how tough is it whenever he has a injury setback like this, and how do you kind of navigate that?
Well, it's tough for him because he's all of a sudden he's gone from making the travel squad as a sophomore and pitching a little bit here and there to being one of our main pitchers. Getting a guy that comes in and throws strikes. He's developed another pitch or 2 in the last year, went out and played summer ball, got better. feel bad for him. And then as far as the team, that was a weapon for us out of the bullpen, so to speak. And now we don't have it. So some of the other guys got to pick him up until he gets back. And yeah, I feel bad for the individual player because they put in a lot of time and work to get where they are. And I'm sure when that happens, they're bummed out. Like, hey, I got hurt. I've been working so hard. But I think at the same time, you realize that you missed the game a lot. You really want to help the team, and you kind of get over the hump and you start working to get back. And we'll get Parker back hopefully by the end of sometime in not this month, but hopefully in May, and he can help us down the stretch.
You mentioned some other guys stepping up. How critical are guys like Colin Fisher and Cole Gibbler? What do you need to see out of them? With Parker being out.
Well, those are the two guys, and I thought Gibbler was outstanding the other night. In Little Rock, he struck out. I think he got 6 outs for us, and 5 of them were by strikeout, and it was really good to see. Colin, in my opinion, wasn't as sharp as normal. Has to get used to coming out of the bullpen. That's one reason that we brought him out of the pen instead of starting him, was to try to get that experience for him, because we could use him that way this weekend as well and going forward for a while. So those two lefties have to pick up the pace for us a little bit.
Okay, Coach, appreciate your time. See you this
Okay.
weekend.
See you guys.